Hey everyone, sit with me in this moment and feel into the quality of waiting that lives in your body right now. There's something you've been hoping for, something financial perhaps, a breakthrough, a shift, a manifestation of the work you've been doing in the invisible realm before it shows in the material. And there's someone whose voice you've been wanting to hear, whose message you've been checking for, whose return you've been holding space for, even while trying not to hope too hard. The waiting has a particular texture to it, doesn't it? Both patient and urgent, both resigned and expectant. Welcome back. It's Anna. And tonight we sit with the mystery of things that are building toward manifestation, not things that will arrive someday, but things that are already in motion, already making their way through the layers of reality, already forming in the unseen before they land in the seen. Let me illuminate what might be alive in this present moment. There exists right now in the architecture of your current reality, a gathering. Seeds you planted are pushing towards surface. Efforts you made are accumulating toward result. Energies you set in motion are moving through their natural cycles of return. Some souls plant seeds and forget they planted them. They work and work without seeing immediate fruit, and they conclude nothing is growing. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading. Foundations are forming. The invisible work is happening that must happen before the visible harvest arrives. You might be in exactly that space right now, where you've been working, investing, building, but the results haven't matched the effort yet. Where you've been patient, but the patience is wearing thin. Where you've been believing, but the belief is getting harder to maintain. But what if the delay isn't denial? What if the timing is simply still unfolding? What if what you've been waiting for is closer than you think? Let me speak into the landscape of financial shift and what it feels like before it arrives. This reflection invites you to consider, what have you been consistently working toward that hasn't yielded visible results yet? There's a pattern in how material abundance moves. It builds in the unseen before it manifests in the seen. Opportunities connect behind the scenes before they present themselves directly. Value accumulates in hidden ways before it translates into money in your account. In the ancient understanding of manifestation and material reality, we know that nothing appears from nowhere. Everything that arrives was already in motion, already building, already making its way through the necessary steps of becoming real. It's possible you're currently in the final stages of something arriving, where the work has been done, where the seeds have rooted, where the natural cycle is nearing the point of visible breakthrough. Not because the universe owes you, but because cause and effect are real, because consistent effort over time creates results. Some people experience the period right before financial breakthrough as particularly difficult because they're exhausted from the effort, because they're running on fumes, because they can't see that they're one step away from the shift they've been working toward. You might be in exactly that space, right at the edge, where giving up would mean abandoning something just before it blooms, where loss of faith would come right before the evidence that would restore that faith. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it mean if you're closer to financial breakthrough than you realize? Let me speak to the nature of unexpected money. There's a quality to money that arrives from unexpected sources. Not money you work directly for, but money that shows up through channels you didn't predict, through opportunities you didn't see coming, through connections that suddenly bear fruit. In the language of abundance and flow, we understand that value moves in mysterious ways. Sometimes the work you did months ago creates opportunity now. Sometimes a connection you made casually becomes significant suddenly. Sometimes what seemed like a dead end reveals itself as a doorway. It's possible you're currently surrounded by potential financial shifts that haven't announced themselves yet, opportunities that are forming but not visible, connections that are about to become relevant, value that's accumulating in ways you're not tracking. Some souls are so focused on the expected channels of income that they miss the unexpected ones. They're watching one door so intently they don't notice another door opening. They're so attached to how they think money should arrive that they're not available for how it might actually arrive. You might need to soften your expectations, to stay open to money arriving through paths you didn't plan, to recognize that abundance doesn't always follow the routes we predict. This reflection invites you to consider what unexpected channels might money move through in your life. Let me speak now to someone you're waiting to hear from. There's a particular ache in waiting for someone to reach out, in checking your phone, hoping for their name, and going through your days half present because part of you is always listening for them, in wanting to move on but not being quite ready to release the hope. In the deep knowing of connection and timing, we understand that people reach out when they reach out. Sometimes there's a reason for the delay that has nothing to do with you. Sometimes they're processing. Sometimes they're afraid. Sometimes they're waiting for their own internal clarity before they speak. It's possible this person you're waiting for is currently in exactly that kind of internal process. They might be thinking about you more than you realize, composing messages they don't send, working up courage they haven't found yet, moving toward reaching out but not quite there. Some people take a long time to do what feels simple to others, to send a message, to make a call, to bridge a distance, not because they don't want to, but because their own fear or pride or confusion is louder than their desire for connection. You might be dealing with someone who operates exactly that way, who cares but can't show it easily, who wants to reach out but wrestles with vulnerability, who will eventually make contact but on a timeline you can't predict or control. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it feel like if this person reached out tomorrow? Let me illuminate what you might need to release around this waiting. There's a way that waiting can become its own kind of prison, where you put your life on hold for something to arrive, where you can't fully be present because you're always half watching for what you're hoping for, where the waiting itself becomes more significant than the living, in the sacred practice of releasing while remaining open. We learn to hold our desires lightly, to want what we want without grasping, to hope without becoming dependent on hope, to stay available for what might arrive without organizing our entire existence around the arrival. It's possible you need to practice exactly that kind of open-handed wanting right now, to desire the money without obsessing over when and how, to hope for the contact without refreshing your phone every 5 minutes, to trust that what's meant to arrive will arrive while you focus on living your actual life. Some souls discover that the thing they were waiting for shows up right when they stop the desperate watching. Not because the universe is testing them, but because the desperation itself was creating an energetic block. The grasping was preventing the receiving. You might find that when you truly release the timeline, when you genuinely refocus on your present moment, suddenly what you were waiting for has space to arrive. This reflection invites you to consider, is less than #0. 5# is greater than what would change if you stopped waiting and started living fully in the now. Let me speak to worthiness and receiving. There's something that happens in the human psyche around receiving what we've been wanting. A resistance, a doubt, a voice that says this is too good, or I don't deserve this, or something will go wrong. In the deep work of becoming someone who can hold abundance, we must address these internal blocks. Because if you believe on some level that you're not worthy of financial breakthrough, you'll sabotage it when it arrives. If you believe you don't deserve to be chosen by the person you're waiting for, you'll push them away when they reach out. It's possible you're carrying exactly these kinds of limiting beliefs, not consciously perhaps, but in the background, in the voice that whispers, this won't work out, or good things don't happen to me, or I always end up disappointed. Some people spend years working for breakthrough while simultaneously believing they can't have it. And that internal contradiction creates a push-pull that keeps the desired thing just out of reach. You might need to examine your own worthiness beliefs to notice where you're braced for disappointment, to recognize where you're protecting yourself from hope by refusing to believe good things can happen for you. This reflection invites you to consider what would need to shift in you to fully receive what you're hoping for. Let me speak to the present moment and what it's asking of you. Regardless of whether money arrives or this person calls is less than #0, 5 hash is greater than this moment right now, is asking something of you. It's asking you to be here, to show up fully for your actual life rather than the life you're waiting to begin once certain conditions are met. In the wisdom of presence and power, we understand that life happens now, not once we have enough money, not once someone chooses us, now, in this breath, in this moment, in this opportunity to be awake and alive and engaged. It's possible you've been postponing your own aliveness, telling yourself you'll really start living once you have financial security, or once this person comes back, or once some external condition is met. But that postponement, it's costing you the only life you actually have, which is this one. Right now, some souls wait their whole lives for conditions to be perfect before they fully show up. And the conditions never become perfect, and the life passes, and the waiting was the only thing that happened. You might be in danger of exactly that pattern, of letting the waiting consume the living, of organizing everything around what might happen instead of what is happening. This reflection invites you to consider, what are you not doing now because you're waiting for something to arrive first? Let me close by speaking to trust and surrender. You've done the work. You've planted the seeds. You've made the efforts. You've held the faith even when faith felt foolish. And now you're in the space between the planting and the harvest, between the asking and the receiving, between the hoping and the manifestation. This space requires a particular kind of trust. Trust that the universe, life, the natural order of things is working even when you can't see the working. Trust that timing has its own intelligence. Trust that what's meant for you won't miss you. In the sacred surrender, we release our grip on outcomes while maintaining our alignment with desire. We want what we want, but we hold it lightly. We work toward what we're building, but we don't attach our peace to the timeline. It's possible this is exactly the practice you need right now, to want the money without making it mean everything, to hope for the call without organizing your worth around whether it comes, to desire while also being okay if the desire manifests differently than you imagined. You remain sovereign in how you hold this waiting. You can let it consume you, make you anxious, keep you from being present. Or you can hold it as one thread in the larger tapestry of your life. Important, but not everything. Desired, but not determining your value. hoped for but not depended on for your wholeness. The power is yours. Before we part, I ask you to reflect. What are you waiting for that's keeping you from fully living now? And what would become possible if you released the desperate grip on timeline while staying open to arrival? Share in the comments if moved, and consider, what if the money and the call arrive exactly when you stop making them the center of everything? A lot of money and an unexpected call from someone you're waiting for. These things move in their own time. They arrive through their own channels. They manifest when conditions align. What you can control is not the timing, but your presence, your worthiness, your openness, your willingness to receive when arrival happens. Trust yourself in this. Trust that you're building something even when you can't see the building. Trust that your waiting is not in vain even when evidence is scarce. Trust that you're worthy of what you're hoping for. May you find peace in the waiting. May you stay present in the living. May you be ready when arrival comes. The moment is now. The power is yours. The receiving is possible.